It's the tragic death of a young performer, and now family, friends, and fans around the world are suffering the loss.
In one social media post, Carter's mother writes, quote, "Why are the towels perfectly placed?"
Do you regret ever getting involved in...
I didn't have a choice. It got bad when I was about 15 years old.
There's a bunch of videos that have recently resurfaced because of all these speculations and allegations about Diddy possibly being involved with Aaron Carter's passing.
They're all involved in this, and they're trying to keep me there. They had cops come and check for a rope in my...
Did you know that one fateful Christmas a music mogul broke down in jail when no one was there to help him in today's expose? We're diving into the shocking story of Shah Diddy Combs, a man once untouchable, now facing a legal storm that could shake the very foundations of Hollywood. We reveal hidden evidence, leaked tapes, and explosive courtroom drama that tied Diddy to scandalous events, and amid it all, a conspiracy linking him to pop star Aaron Carter's untimely death has ignited a firestorm online. So what really happened behind closed doors at those infamous freak-off parties? Could the damning proof hidden by his attorney be the key to unraveling a decades-long cover-up? Stay tuned as we dig deep, question everything, and expose secrets that were meant to stay buried.
Ringing in the new year with a jailhouse meltdown, at least according to some new reports. All this comes as the disgraced singer spends his first holiday season behind bars, and a judge rules one of his accusers can remain anonymous. By now you're well aware that 55-year-old Sean Combs, also known as P. Diddy, is being held at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. He's facing federal charges of racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. The charges came down in September when a grand jury indicted Diddy, half a year after those federal raids were first performed on his homes. Since he was booked, Diddy has made several bids for bail, hoping to get back to one of those homes or an apartment on New York's Upper East Side.
You might have thought this period before the trial was going to be the calm before the storm. I did. Wrong. On April 3rd, the government released another superseding indictment. That's the third one we've had now, but this time it adds on 2 additional criminal counts against Diddy. Now, we're just over a month from opening statements. Why file it now? Does it leave the defense enough time to prepare?
Those 8 videos, 8 celebrities, 6 men and 2 women. How many of those 8 celebrities were close to being underage or potentially underage?
2 males.
2 males. And of those 8 celebrities, how many of them were intoxicated or under the influence of drugs?
This is going to be all speculation. I just want to preface it by he wouldn't know if they were. Right.
Sure.
Appear to
Let me
be,
rephrase
right,
it.
Based on, yes.
Understand. Out of the 8 celebrities who were recorded having intimate relations with Sean Combs, how many of them appeared to be either inebriated or intoxicated or into the influence?
All of them. All of them.
About 15 years old, and I remember him just sitting down with me, being like, this is kind of like what you got to do, Aaron.
They follow me to the fucking hotel. They kill Aaron Carter, and now they acting like they won't clear the Backstreet Boys sample. You get what I'm saying? Harley Pasternak, Pusha, your trainer. Harley Pasternak, Jay-Z. You get what I'm saying?
Aaron Carter was despicable, though, because he begged for help to help get him a private security team to keep him alive. He said on numerous occasions, if anything happens to me, I promise you, I am not suicidal. And no one said.
It all started at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center, where Diddy 55 was spending what should have been a festive holiday behind bars. According to insiders, on Christmas Day, he pleaded for medical help, fearing an emotional breakdown as the weight of isolation closed in, but prison guards turned him away. Leaving the mogul alone on a day meant for family and joy, he had expected his powerful legal team to secure his bail. So this bitter disappointment was something no one could have predicted.
Combs will officially not be home for the holidays after a judge just denied him bail now for the third time. Diddy's been behind bars since September and will likely now remain there until his trial date, which is in May of 2025. Combs' lawyers tried just about everything at this point to get him released, offering a $50 million bond, a 24-hour security team, a home monitoring system at his Upper East Side Manhattan apartment. They tried it all, but the judge still felt that, quote, no condition or combination of conditions will reasonably assure the safety of the community. So why is Diddy deemed so dangerous?
But Judge Subramanian, he didn't bite on that, and Diddy's bail was denied for the third time. According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it.
I believe the reports, and obviously Diddy is someone who's rich and famous and has lived a life of luxury for many years, and now he's in federal prison during the holidays. So this isn't someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him. So I'm not surprised that he cracked. You know, he looks like he's lost some weight and he has some more gray and white hairs. I think it's taken a toll on him. And I think that he expected, for some reason, that he would be out on bond. And obviously that hasn't happened. There were 3 different bail applications that were denied by 3 different judges, and ultimately they withdrew their appeal. So now that it's hitting him that Diddy's going to be in custody at least until May 2025, I think he's just having a tough time coming to terms with it. Because like you said, here's someone that had multiple private jets, you know, homes in New York, Miami, Los Angeles, and all of a sudden his only home is his prison cell, and he's not getting the Christmas dinner with his family.
Instead of his usual bravado, sources say he turned to meditation techniques he had picked up during his time in detention, clinging to these practices to keep himself together. In an environment that was anything but forgiving, while the representative insists Diddy is tougher than ever, the image of a man used to commanding the stage reduced to a vulnerable soul in a cold cell has captured everyone's attention.
This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC. When he first arrived, he was on suicide watch, which the U.S. Department of Justice National Institute of Corrections describes as supervisory precautions taken for suicidal inmates that require frequent observation. Diddy's suicide watch was only temporary, though. He was housed in a special protective unit of the jail after that for the first few weeks of his stay. But Diddy right now is in Gen Pop, meaning general population, the place where majority of the inmates stay. And that's where he apparently had this meltdown over the holidays, at least according to one source.
And as Les Trent reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called Hell on Earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal lockup? There have been 2 murders, 4 suicides, and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years. It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here.
Well, honestly, Jesse, I feel like Diddy's appearance was probably the biggest story that happened inside that hearing. There was kind of an astonishing whoa when he walked inside that courtroom because he appeared noticeably grayer. I would even kind of equate it a little bit to Santa Claus, but he just appeared grayer. His hair was a lot whiter. Now, remember, the last time I was inside one of Diddy's hearings, that was back in December. We're in March, so that's just a 3-month time span of just that intense grayness. So either him being at MDC Brooklyn for this amount of time is weighing on him, this federal case is weighing on him, maybe even his fall from grace entirely is probably weighing on him, but he just looked visibly different. I will say, though, last time he appeared thinner. This time it seems like he did kind of pack on a little bit of pounds.
Then came the courtroom shocker in what witnesses describe as a scene straight out of a thriller. Did's attorney received a document that contained a transcript of leaked tapes that could change the narrative forever these recordings obtained. During a raid on Diddy's residence, allegedly capture wild, drug-fueled parties, where he not only hosted debauched freak-off events, but also coerced his guests into performing on camera.
Video and audio recordings of Diddy's illegal behavior. We now know this is what the feds were searching for on March 25th, when they executed search warrants at Diddy's homes in Los Angeles and Miami. At the time, we only speculated that investigators collected electronic evidence, but now we know for sure. According to the indictment against Diddy, investigators seized more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant from his home. The court doc states these items were used in something referred to as freak-offs, which were elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded.
Yeah, we cottoned on pretty quick, didn't we, in that interview a few months ago, that she was talking about something that might have been taped, or a lot of things that might have been taped and on video in his possession.
Absolutely. You know, Tracy told us that her suspicion was that federal agents were specifically looking for video evidence, for digital evidence, whether that was flash drives, hard drives, you know, home security systems, those kinds of things. And we now know, after Combs's arrest and the indictment, that she was correct, that what they've discovered is video evidence.
And she's pretty strong on that point, isn't she? What'd she say, about 80 to 90% of what's being said could be on video, and it's a pretty scary.
And that's crazy. But the feds, they also revealed that they got photos and videos of Diddy freak-offs. When they did that raid, you understand, what they did was, prior to the raid, they reviewed that civil lawsuit. And that civil lawsuit told, Cassie's civil lawsuit was LeRod had already did it. LeRod hadn't did his yet, did he? Did LeRod do his lawsuit before the raid or after the raid? Oh, before. Yeah, so what they did was they reviewed both of those civil lawsuits and found that there was some criminal
activity in those lawsuits, eyewitnesses claimed, the moment the document was handed over. The attorney's face went from shock to barely contained outrage. It wasn't just another piece of scandalous gossip. It was evidence that might tie Diddy to charges of racketeering. Conspiracy, sex trafficking, and transportation for prostate tapes, once dismissed as mere rumors, now form the backbone of a case that has everyone from legal experts to everyday fans sitting up straight, wondering what else could be hidden behind those closed doors.
Racketeering and sex trafficking. And when you say breaking news, I just got this indictment, this 14-page indictment in my hand right now. Now, I want to read for you just a quick top line that kind of gives you an idea of exactly what the U.S. attorney is looking to prosecute here. They say, quote, the defendant abused, threatened, and coerced women and others around him to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and to conceal his conduct. To do so, Combs relied on employees, resources, and influence of the multifaceted business empire that he led and controlled, creating a criminal enterprise whose members and associates engaged in and attempted to engage in all of these crimes.
Right. And they claiming that Diddy, you know, he was blackmailing his victims because he had videos from old freak-offs and he was using those videos to get his victims to do another freak-off. So, if he was blackmailing people, especially people that work for him, see, this is what it's going to get him at. See, people think that, those people work for him, or those people, if they was artists and they work for him, or they were engineers, or they anybody that worked for them and stuff like that, your boss cannot blackmail you to do nothing. If you do a sexual act or you doing anything, your boss, if he have you doing those things like that, then he could be liable for suit. For him to come out with that comment, I mean, that is suspect. It sounds like he's worried that Diddy might give up some information. That's why. That's why he made that statement. To set it up. To set up the atmosphere that, this guy's going to lie on us. This guy ain't going to tell the truth on us. But what we know is that wherever Diddy went, his tape recorders went. His camera equipment was working. He was videotaping everything. So they might have that videotape already. I heard that that's not only the tape that's being shot. There's some other tapes out there, other people too with him. And him doing some things with some other people. So it's quite a few tapes that might be out there, what they're hearing. And I don't want to see the tapes, but I want to know if they're really true. Because if they got if they got some tapes out there and it's with some underage, whether it's celebrities or not, it's gonna be crazy, bro. It's gonna be real crazy. And they're gonna have to bring that to forefront because the prosecutor's gonna want those tapes.
Another layer to this tangled story, Diddy's legal team recently submitted a questionnaire loaded with over 70 probing questions. These questions meant for potential jurors asked them to share their views on explicit, sexual content images of physical violence and the moral implications of having multiple sexual partners.